Kendrick Lamar and Lupe Fiasco are going to battle. Or at the very least, Lupe Fiasco has just signed away his ability to dodge this beef any longer the next time Kendrick comes outside. And if you're ready to see what could become one of the greatest lyrical clashes ever, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hype up the video. While you're at it, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel, Hip Hop Flash. You can find it right in the description and the comments. Be sure to support the channel and help us continue to grow. I'd really appreciate it. Now, with that out of the way, when it comes to Kendrick Lamar and Lupe Fiasco, Kendrick has been inside the house watching Sinners. That's the last we've heard from him and the last time he's done anything directly. So everything happening right now has nothing to do with Kendrick's side. Instead, it has everything to do with the generational hate that Lupe continues to show toward Kendrick. It's a major blind spot in what has otherwise been a genius Hall of Fame career. And in this moment, things took a really strange turn. Lupe went on to say that there are 100 rappers better than Kendrick Lamar, but there's a lot more to the story. It all started when Lupe hopped on a live stream with fellow YouTuber Koala T, someone who has even reacted to my own content. He's a cool guy, and shout out to him for producing some of the funniest moments I've seen in a while. I do want to say it felt like he was rage baiting Lupe because he was making some wild claims toward him, although Lupe was making some equally wild claims about Kendrick. We'll get to all of that. During the live stream, Lupe unexpectedly joined to confront Koala over what he believed was hate directed toward him. But Koala immediately asked him about his own dislike of Kendrick, and that led to a long exchange that I think is important to cover. Koala said there are 100 rappers better than Lupe Fiasco, and argued that Lupe isn't nearly as good of a writer as people claim, because he takes too long to get to the point. Now, especially since Lupe seems to watch a lot of videos in the hip-hop community, I want to be fair here. I'm not saying this because I'm scared of Lupe or anything like that. I just want to keep it real. There are not 100 rappers on the planet better than Lupe Fiasco. Lupe is an all-time great. But if Lupe is better than 99 rappers, Kendrick Lamar is the one who's above him. Kendrick is simply in another league. Everything reached its breaking point when Lupe said there are 100 rappers better than Kendrick Lamar. I won't defend that claim. Let's just take a look at what he had to say. I'm talking purely about battle rapping. I'm not talking about albums. I'm not talking about making songs. I'm not talking about being an artist. I've said for years that Kendrick is a better artist than me. He makes better albums. He has a better team. He has better beat selection. He has better production. He has all of those things. But when it comes to lyricism, when it comes to bars, bar for bar, no. Everything else, sure, 100%. More personal, better narratives, more emotion. I don't like sharing my feelings. I don't want to share my personal stories. I don't do that. You shared it already. I have, but these are things I've been saying for years. You pulled a Lupe on me. You started at the beginning, got to the end, and now I forgot what we were talking about. Hold on, refresh me? No, we have to go back. My memory is like a steel trap. Is that the MIT thing or is that Lupe rapping? You want to quit playing? I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. Why are you playing? Because you're a player. I've got too many chats going at the end of the day. You're feeling a certain way about what I said because you're a rapper and you believe it. I've got more to say, but you want to skip ahead. So why do we have to build all this up? Forget that. Let's get to the point. You're feeling a certain way because I said something you believe. No, you said there are 50. I said there are hundreds, and I'll name them. We can make a list. Okay, where do you want to start? Rosenberg Raw? Blue Magic? We can start listing names and see how long the list gets before we even mention someone with a record deal. No, I don't think he's a better rapper. From those clips, you can clearly see that Koala was doing a lot of rage baiting. But at the center of it all are two major claims Lupe is making about Kendrick. First, Lupe believes he's the better lyricist. That's the one category he insists he has over Kendrick. He openly says Kendrick is better in almost every other area, but not when it comes to lyricism. At the same time, Lupe talks about Kendrick having a better team, better beat selection, and better production. It comes across as if he's saying Kendrick has more resources, while Lupe believes that when it comes strictly to raw ability, he's the superior MC. Then, Lupe goes even further, claiming Kendrick isn't as good lyrically as people think. According to him, there are 100 rappers, unsigned or battle rappers, who are better than Kendrick when it comes to lyricism. He even begins naming a few. But regardless of the point Lupe is trying to make, this claim is simply ridiculous. Attaching Kendrick's name to that kind of statement crosses a line. This isn't friendly competition. This isn't another control-style moment where Kendrick made a bold claim and someone wants to respond. This is Lupe directly trying to undermine Kendrick's credibility at the very thing he's known for. When you look at the way Lupe talks, the way he carries himself, and how supportive he's continued to be of Drake for quite some time, that's an important distinction. It's not like Lupe is equally critical of everyone. In fact, he's been far more supportive and passive toward Drake than just about any other rapper. He's even said Drake raps better than Kendrick and does other things better. But we're not going to get into that because I think everyone knows that Lupe has been more supportive of Drake than Kendrick, at least for quite a while now. But when you stack up Lupe's claims, the obvious and inevitable conclusion is this. Lupe isn't talking about some lower-tier rapper or someone who's easy to dismiss. He's talking about one of the greatest rappers on the planet. And with the way he's speaking, there's just no way Kendrick Lamar doesn't respond. There's no way Kendrick doesn't throw him a few bars, a line, a jab, or even a full diss. Maybe it comes on a feature the next time Kendrick steps back outside. Lupe has been such a consistent hater, and Kendrick is someone who genuinely loves this kind of competition. I'm sure Kendrick is smiling. He loves being counted out. He loves being doubted. And if he gets the opportunity to go head-to-head with Lupe, he knows exactly what that means. Especially within hip-hop circles, where reputation matters more than anything else, the glory and respect he could gain from battling Lupe might be even greater than what he got from going at Drake. Kendrick understands that. And again, shout out to Koala. I'm not trying to call him out, but his takes about Lupe weren't great. Lupe Fiasco is absolutely one of the greatest rappers ever. If Koala was simply rage baiting, then that's a different story, because he definitely did a great job trolling. But when we're talking about Lupe's lyrical ability, that's where this conversation carries weight. Lupe Fiasco is one of the top 10 lyricists of all time, and arguably top 5 or even top 3. He's also one of hip-hop's greatest conceptual artists. I'd still rank Kendrick higher, but Lupe isn't far behind. While Lupe has released some weaker albums throughout his career, at his peak, he built a discography worthy of the Hall of Fame. Looking at everything he's accomplished, he's easily a top 25 rapper of all time, and honestly, that's probably underselling him. I only cap it there to be conservative. I say all of that because there's a reason we're even having this conversation. There are plenty of washed-up rappers who take shots at Kendrick, and nobody cares because they were never that great to begin with. But Lupe isn't one of those people. Lupe is one of the greatest rappers to ever touch a microphone. He just has this blind spot when it comes to Kendrick. For whatever reason, he simply can't give Kendrick his flowers. Lupe even tried to argue that he has more credentials to speak on hip-hop than Koala, myself, or anyone else because of everything he's accomplished in the culture. Personally, I don't like that argument. When you're actually competing in the sport, you're not always the most objective critic. You've worked in the industry. You know what happens behind the scenes. You're not judging artists based solely on their talent or body of work. Personal relationships, experiences, and emotions naturally influence your opinions. And when it comes to Kendrick Lamar and Lupe Fiasco, that seems to be exactly what's happening. Looking at everything together, here's the biggest takeaway. If Kendrick and Drake eventually battled after years of tension, it feels like we're starting to see a similar breaking point develop between Kendrick and Lupe. I think we're eventually going to hear a diss, a jab, or at least a few bars directed toward Lupe. Maybe it won't be a career-defining diss track. Maybe it'll be on a feature, a heart record, or another song that isn't meant to become a permanent centerpiece of Kendrick's catalog. But at this point, it feels like Kendrick has to respond. You can't let someone of Lupe's caliber disrespect you like this without saying something back. That would go against everything Kendrick has shown throughout his career. So I do think we'll eventually see Kendrick get his lick back. For now, just understand where Lupe stands. These are the claims he's making, and he's standing firmly behind them. Now it's up to Kendrick Lamar to decide whether this goes any further. Otherwise, Lupe will continue making comments like these and remain stuck in this strange bubble where, despite being one of the greatest rappers ever, he continues to look bad in this one specific area. Now, let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on what Lupe said about Kendrick? Do you think Kendrick responds? If so, when do you think it happens? How do you think he'll respond? And could this become the biggest rap beef we've seen in years? Do you think, in a lot of ways, Kendrick versus Lupe would actually be better than Kendrick versus Drake, simply because it would be almost entirely about lyricism and bars? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, let me know what you thought about Lupe's hilarious live stream. I think Koala did a genuinely funny job talking with him. At the same time, I don't want to sit here and pretend Lupe Fiasco is anywhere near as bad as some people are making him out to be. He is absolutely one of the greatest to ever do it. As for Lupe trying to argue that his experience makes him a better evaluator of hip-hop, I still don't agree with that point. When you've competed with people, you'll naturally have blind spots because of your own biases. You see the same thing in basketball. Players often say, "I played the game, so I understand it better." That may be true, but you're also competing with other players. You have personal relationships, rivalries, and opinions that can affect your judgment. That alone doesn't automatically make you the most credible evaluator. We see this across media as well, including hip-hop with someone like DJ Academics. How can you completely separate your opinions when you're personally connected to many of the people you're talking about? It's a walking contradiction, and whether it's rap or sports, it's never ideal. Speaking of rap and sports, if you want to hear my thoughts on what just happened in hip-hop with some lame Drake stans getting on my nerves, be sure to check out the suggested video on your end screen. And if you want to hear my NBA takes on Nikola Jokic, the Denver Nuggets, and why it already feels like Jokic is on his way out, make sure to check out my latest video on Hip Hop Flash. Whether you want to talk basketball or rap, come hang out with me. Go ahead and check out the suggested videos on your end screen right now.